As you probably know, I'm a student, and this semester I'm taking an interpersonal communications class, which means that we have to give speeches. And the first speech is an informative speech on any topic that we already know about. And so I picked feminism. So I thought, if I have to practice talking with my mouth anyway, which is not in my typical skill set, why don't I just record it and put it on the internet for everyone to see? Because I have social anxiety disorder, and that just makes sense. Many people think feminism is irrelevant in today's culture, but I've been working with women's issues and reading and studying and writing about them for the past 10 years, and I have seen that that is not true. It's a very complex and nuanced topic, and sometimes it's hard to grasp the finer points of it. So I'm just going to talk about some things that are really obvious, very clear cut, and to show you that feminism is still relevant, that misogyny is very much still a part of our culture. You can see this reflected in the science that we choose to follow, that we choose to pursue. You can see it reflected in the English language and how it's structured. And you can see it reflected in how it affects men too, because feminism isn't just for women, it's for everybody. And misogyny is, in fact, still present in our society. Take a moment to consider the sciences that we pursue. It's been more than 100 years since we've been able to put humans into the air in planes, and we have eradicated diseases, and we can take one organ from one person and make it work in a totally different person. In 1969, a human being actually walked upon the moon. And it wasn't until almost 3 decades later that we figured out the full anatomy of the clitoris. Did you know that the clitoris is more than just a button? It's not just a button. It's this whole organ, mostly inside of a woman, but larger than many unerect penises. And nobody even knows that it exists for the most part. It's probably responsible for the G-spot. And I think the clitoris is pretty cool because it's the only organ in the whole human body that's devoted entirely to pleasure. The only one. Another thing science has missed discussing and sharing with the population is the 3 general patterns of the female orgasm. This has been known since the 1960s, when William Masters and Virginia Johnson did some studies on human orgasm, and they were able to map 3 different types of orgasm in females. The first type is the type that you typically see in the media. The second type, instead of reaching that peak, has many little peaks and can go on for a very long time. And then the third type peaks very quickly and then is over without really plateauing like the other 2 types. But this is information that literally every woman and every man should know as common knowledge, but nobody knows it. It's not taught in sex ed, and it's not shown in the media. And that's really a shame because it affects everyone. For the women who don't have the typical type of orgasm, the kind that's shown in the media, they often think that they are failures, or their partners might think that they're failing. They're the people that they're trying to please. But misogyny is more insidious than all that. Misogyny is still present in our language today and in the way that it's structured. If you think of those phrases like, you throw like a girl, that's never a compliment. It's always an insult. And honestly, to me, I think it seems kind of like a setup because, girls historically haven't been taught athletic skills. So then if they haven't been taught these skills and they don't throw the way they're supposed to be effective in athletics, they then become the butt of this society-wide joke about how they aren't good at athletics, and it becomes an insult to men. You can say that takes balls, and that's a huge compliment, but to say that somebody is a pussy is not a compliment. It's derogatory. It's an insult that means that they're weak. And that's pretty upsetting. You know, we have our whole language built over this particular idea of what women should be, and it's just not reasonable or acceptable. And then, you know, if you think about it, the very worst word that somebody could possibly think of to insult somebody is the word cunt. It's far more offensive to people than the word dick. And why is that? It's just a body part. And then if you look at the origin of other certain words that are part of our actual anatomy, the word hysterical comes from Greek and Latin words meaning womb. So it literally translates to womb. And if you say that somebody is crying hysterically, what you're really saying is that chicks are just crazy, man. And the same with vagina. You might think that vagina means female pleasure cave or baby slide, but it doesn't. It means sheath for a sword. We have built our entire knowledge of the female anatomy around the idea that it's just a place to put a penis. That's it. I mean, are we really any better? Have we come any farther than we were 400 years ago when we used to burn women at the stake? Feminism isn't only for women. Misogyny is working against men too. Men are far less likely to seek help for mental health issues, and they are far less likely to seek medical help for certain issues because of the fear of being too feminine. Men aren't allowed to have or to express emotions. So to go to a therapist would insinuate that they are not manly enough. And because of this, the suicide rate, according to this source right there, is 3.5 times higher for men than it is for women. Rates for illnesses or diseases like prostate cancer have unnecessarily high rates of occurrence and death as well, because men are too afraid to seek the medical care for these issues. So you can see that feminism is for everybody, that the patriarchy is not helping anyone. Misogyny is still very much present in our culture today. Feminism is for everyone, and if you feel like the things that I've mentioned here, you know, are scientific goals and knowledge about the female body, our language and the way that it's structured and built, and men's issues. If you feel like any of those things weren't okay, now's the time to start calling yourself a feminist. Feminism doesn't mean that you are better than men. It doesn't mean women are better than men. It just means we're all equal. And these are some examples I gave you just now that are examples of how we are not currently equal. So take some time maybe to think about this and to become more aware of feminist issues if you weren't already. Oh, and guys, don't forget to check out my last video. We have a huge project going on the shape of a mother this year. Super excited. I want you to participate. It's going to be beautiful. I hope we're going to really change the world. Plus, I have a contest going on the website right now, so click over and check out that. Win free stuff. And join us in our weekly photo project. I can't wait to see you guys all around the net. See you soon. Bye.